Hey y'all, I'm Olivia Crum, and for my 60-hour practicum, I work with the Chanticleer Athletic Foundation, more specifically with Kelly Moore, who is the executive director of CAF, and her graduate assistant, Melindies. Okay, so how I came across this agency. So I contacted Kelly Moore, who was an old professor of mine, who taught my RSM 242 class. I reached out to her because I was struggling to find places I could intern with due to COVID. So I emailed her to see if she needed help or knew of anyone that needed any help. Luckily, she could use some help, so it worked out for me perfectly. I also decided to work with CAF because I knew it would be a great fit because I loved Kelly as a professor and I learned a lot from her, and I knew that I would learn a lot from this experience and that I would learn if this would be something I'd be interested long term. Okay, so some responsibilities I had. When I would walk into the CAF office, I never really knew what I was going to expect that day or what was going to be asked of me. So I kind of just went in with an open mind and excited to start doing something. A lot of the things I did was I made a lot of phone calls to a lot of people who have donated to CAF, whether it was $5 or $1,000, it doesn't matter. Kelly had me reach out to all of them, call them, and just say thank you for donating and supporting Coastal Carolina athletics. The reason she had me do this was that it helps our donors know that we appreciate them and it makes them want to keep donating to us. Another task I did a lot was I wrote stories in the Chanticleer Connection newsletter, which is a newsletter that we have on the CAF website for mainly for our donors to keep in contact, in touch with our sports and just see what's going on with that. I wrote stories about basketball, about Javante Jones and how he was leaving. I wrote about the basketball tournament. I wrote about how well our lacrosse team is doing. Another responsibility I had was to be at the baseball games, making sure the chairs and tables were wiped off and in the correct spots. Bathrooms were clean and the iPad was charged. At the baseball games, I was responsible for also getting our guests checked in. Due to COVID, we had to start checking people in because if someone came in contact with or tested positive for COVID, we needed to be able to reach out to everyone who was at that game and just let them know, like, hey, someone came in contact with someone who has COVID. Just make sure everyone's safe and that everyone gets tested just in case if someone were to. I was also responsible for getting in gala auction items. They have a gala every year where they get our big donors in, people who buy tickets for the gala. There's a big dinner, cocktail hour. It's basically a big party for all of our guests. And they also have items that they auction off at the event that our guests can have. And so we have to reach out to businesses in hopes that they will generously just give us items or certificates or whatever. So I was responsible for reaching out to businesses to see if they were willing to donate. Like I reached out to a bunch of golf courses to see if they would donate experiences or gift certificates. We reached out to Top Golf, 810 in Conway. Reached out to small businesses to see if they would make like jean jackets. We also got toy Jeep motorized bicycles and stuff like that we could auction off at that event. Lastly, my responsibilities mainly were just small tasks or errands that I would be given throughout the week. I had to make sure snacks were always in the suite when we had non-suite games. Non-suite games are when our guests can still go to the baseball games, but we don't have Aramark providing a nice meal and drinks and dessert as well. We just provide snacks and they just get to watch and enjoy the game. We don't have to check them in on non-suite games or anything like that. So some skills I learned and had to use was communication. A big thing was that for when I was making phone calls to people. I'm not one to make phone calls or start conversations, but this internship really made me go out of my comfort zone and start using my communication skills and really building on that. Leadership, time management. I had 4 other classes I was taking and I had to make sure I was going to my internship at a certain time and always going there and getting my work done there, as well as getting my homework done for my other classes. Social skills, working at those baseball games. I had to talk to people that I had no idea who they were. I had to just come up with random conversations with those people, making sure they were satisfied, seeing if they need anything at the baseball game, things like that, and then just having conversations with them, just building those relationships, which is another thing I learned how to do. I built many relationships throughout this practicum experience. I built relationships with some of our big donors, like Tammy Brooks, like Tim Ricks, a lot of those people. And then I also made relationships with NCAF, like working with Lexi, Malin, and Kelly, and Coach Taylor, and Michael, all of them. I built relationships with them as well. Yeah, so in conclusion, I learned a lot from CAF, from Kelly and Malin, and I really enjoyed my experience, and I'm really grateful for it. And yeah, and thank you.